Welcome back, everybody. We have basically our mobile first nav bar, and I haven't finished the color code. But one of the things I want to do is make it not only a mobile first, but responsive. So, and what I mean by responsive is that as your screen gets wider and it can fit a horizontal nav bar, it will appear as horizontal. Here it is, rather boring. We're going to add some colors here. This is it full screen. When we're full screen, I would like this nav bar to be just to the right of this website project. All of my links sort of heavy over to the right. So we're going to make it mobile first, which means this is how we begin our design. We begin our design on a narrow screen. Already everything looks okay except for the hover color. I think I need to change that and the color of the links. So I'm going to go to the style sheet for the navigation.css. Very important you do that. And we're looking for colors and background colors. And so you'll notice nav LIA has a background color and color. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see what. Let's try removing that color and just see if we like it any better. Control X, save, refresh. Can you tell it's a nav bar? Probably. Let's make it large. Okay, I'm going to do font size. And then we can try a bunch of different sizes. We can try large, save, refresh. That's large. We can try larger. Guess what? It's going to be larger. And it is. We want largest. Can we do that? I don't even know. I'd say no, because you know why I know no? Because it didn't change to something else. All right, font size. Let's try 2 rem. 2 rem. That's relative EM. EM is also a relative size. I'm going to hit refresh. Did I save my changes? I did not save my changes. Refresh. There we go. Now it's starting to look like those big nav bars we've seen before. I like it. Yeah. We have some hover effects going on the hover, and we probably want to change the color. Right now it's purple because we've been to this page before. And so let's go ahead and add a color here. All right, so what color shall we use? I've been going to my color palette over here. Whoa. And so these are the colors we're choosing to use. And I don't know, we'll try this brown one maybe. We'll play around with it a little bit. I'll try that, and then the real key, like you can mess around and figure out all your colors to your heart's desire. But what I want to do is just get something workable in here. So my goal is just to get a color code going on in here. So I'm going to find what that color code happens to be. There it is, RGB, right there. Go over here, paste it in, save my changes, go to the page, hit refresh, add colors. That's pretty good. Let's make it bold. Okay, I'm going to do a font weight, bold. Remember, it's mobile first. We're starting everything. There we go, bold. Let's center it. That's text align, center. Save our changes. There we go. We're trying to see what it looks like when we're mobile. All right, something like that. It's pretty good, pretty good. Maybe we want to put a border underneath the nav element. All right, we don't have the nav element, so let's put the selector before any of the others. I like to work my way top to bottom. So I start with the first tag you would see in what's called the document tree. And so nav appears before the UL inside of the nav, and the UL inside of the nav appears before the anchor appears inside of the list item inside of the nav. So we put nav first, and then we're going to do a border bottom of 0.1 rem. Let's use the same color we had from before. And solid, we'll add solid here. And we'll toggle soft wrap so you can see it wrap to the other line. Save, refresh, there we go. Maybe you could add a little drop shadow. box shadow. You ever done box shadow before? Box shadow, you give it the X offset, the Y offset, and the blur, and then the color. So we're not going to move it to the left or the right, so we give it 0. We're going to move it down about 0.1 rem. I'm really into rems these days. These are good for mobile styling. By the way, 1 rem would be standard size, so 0.1 is like a lot smaller, and we'll fiddle around with that number. That's the vertical. We give a positive number. We actually move down. And then we're going to give a blur. We're going to try a 0.1 rem blur. And then we'll use our color, which is basically the same color. We might want to use a black color. So let's just hit refresh there. Let's do that. The black would just be 0, 0, 0. Did we do the blur amount? That's 0.5. Save our changes. Now it's black, blurred more. I don't like the fact that the shadow is appearing to the left and the right. Okay, so that is one thing I may wish to do to sort of change it. One thing I could do is adjust the width of the nav to be greater than 100%. Let's see if that, although you'd still see a shadow on the top most likely. I think maybe I'll stop with the box shadow. Instead, I'm going to do a margin bottom of 2 rem. Save changes, refresh, push everything down a little bit. I think that's good enough for now. All right, so we styled the mobile first. Now it's time to style the responsive aspect of this. And that's the idea of we go wider until we can fit a horizontal nav bar up along the top. And part of this is trying to guess at what width we can do that. We call that a breakpoint. The point at which your nav bar changes. The point in which it responds is called the breakpoint, at which it breaks to a new style. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to take use of this at media. We're going to put it into the navigation. So we're going to scroll down. And remember, it's mobile first. We style for mobile, and then we fix any changes for the next style. So I'm going to put a little comment here. And then I'm going to put, earlier, by the way, we had a comment that says mobile first styles. I'm going to add another comment here that basically says, we call this tablet landscape breakpoint. I would think by the time you're on a tablet and you're looking at it like landscape view, we should have the horizontal nav bar. So we're going to do this thing called at media. And let me pause for just a second, grab my notes. Okay, I'm going to put only screen and, so we're saying on a screen, but only a screen, and then in parentheses. Okay, so we're talking about breakpoints, and we start mobile first. So what we're going to do here is we're going to pick a width of the screen and determine is it greater than or lesser than. We have to determine how we're going to set up this breakpoint. So we're going to say all styles that are wider than the breakpoint. Okay, so now we have to say if it's greater than what it is, and instead of greater than or lesser than, we're going to say max width or min width. So we're going to say a minimum width. It has to at least have this width first. So we're going to do min dash width colon. Now we're going to get the minimum width. And I don't know what that is, but before I do, I'm going to go ahead and put some curly brackets in here and hit enter a few times so you can kind of see that. So it's at media, only screen, and then we're going to say minimum width. It has to at least be a certain width. Now, what is the said width? We're going to test it out using the developer tool. So I'm going to type F12 while I'm on here. And instead of popping it up here, because that's too hard to see, we can click on here and we can dock it underneath. And that's my goal. And so the idea here is, by the way, as soon as I click this and move it, you see what's happening here? Up at the upper right, it says 911px. So I can try 911. So we'll go over here, and usually you want to put it in pixels, because that's a physical hard number we can test out. Now, what's the first thing we're going to do? At that width, we want to, in our display, remember we set it to flexbox? In fact, if you look, it was flex direction. So this is the one that set the flex direction. This is what we want to change. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, okay? Because this is what I want to change, because I know that's my selector and that's my property and style. Now, it's already been set to list style type none, padding 0, display flex. I don't need to change any of that, but I do need to change flex direction. So watch what I do. Right click, copy, scroll, scroll, scroll. Now, I have to paste the entire rule declaration inside of these curly brackets or it doesn't work. So I paste. You see how it's already tabbed? That's because Adam, as an editor, rocks the Casbah. That's right. The free row, whatever you want to say. Now we had flex direction column. We'll change that from column to row. That's it. Save changes. Okay, now let's see what it looks like as a flex direction of row. Oops. Refresh. There it is. Yeah, not too bad, not too shabby. All right, let's go back where we had it here. And let's try the responsive nature. Watch the number, how it's going up. 6, 7, 800, 807, 910. There it is. Now, does this all fit the way I want it to? Not exactly. Not exactly. One, I wanted all my links to appear on the right-hand side, and I wanted them even with website. And two, I don't need the nav bars, or I mean the text to be so big. So I'm going to scale back the text. So we have to figure out all the things we want to change about it. Now we did flex direction. What if we did row reverse? How does that affect it? Refresh. Bam, puts it on the right-hand side. Poems on the far right. Do we like that? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Let's see, there was one other, let me find the right one. Of course, I'm going to let you decide which way to do it, but if we want home as the first link and about as the last, the problem with row reverse is not only does it move it to the right, which we want, but it also reverses the order of the links. You can change it from flex direction row reverse to just row, and then it would be justify content, flex end. Like so. Save your changes. Hit refresh. There we go. Now home is over here. I'm not sure I like that. I think it looks better the other way around. And I think that's what a lot of the other people were doing. So I'm going to stick with this particular one. Now we're going to scale back the size of the font. So where did we change it? We changed font size in nav LIA. So let's just do that real quick. I copy the whole thing because it's just easier. Paste. And all I want to do is change font size. Nothing else. Everything else can stay the same. It's already been set. I'm going to set it to 1.3. Hit refresh. Smaller. Still looks pretty decent. And the only thing we don't have is the website project being on par, the same size as that. For that, we might have to play around just a little bit. Let's go back over here. Let's talk about what options we have. We have a header, and then we have a nav inside. What if we move the nav inside the header? Will that fix our problem? Control X, backspace, backspace, backspace. Hit enter, paste, save, refresh. Doesn't really look any different. I did save it, right? Yeah. Here's the problem. H1 is a block level tag. Nav is a block level tag. Okay, because they're both block level tags, they don't share the same space. So, do we give up? Is that the end of the road? Should we just throw in the towel and say, it's just not going to happen? Of course not. What if the parent of these two objects had basically flexbox applied to it as well? Let's try that out. Is this still part of navigation? This is kind of layout. So you might apply it to layout, but let me just apply it here since I have it open and we're low on time. Let me just show you what we could do here. We just go over here, we type header, and then we're going to put, now this header, yeah, we'll go ahead and style it from here, but we might want to change that a little bit later. We'll do display flex, and then it's flex direction. And we're going to do that as row. We'll save our changes. Hit refresh. Yikes. All right, problem is my nav bar is right next to my header 1. So we're going to apply one more flex box, and I got to look it up. It's over here. Justify content space between. Save changes. Go back. Refresh. Well, bam. There it is. Now, is this mobile first? No. Guess what? We did it the wrong way around. What we can do here, we take that, Control X, we can paste it in here in our breakpoint. Let's see if that does what we want it to. Refresh, mobile, full screen, bam. That's pretty good. If we don't want it to go all the way to the side, there are other ways of dealing with it, but at this point we have a responsive navbar. It responds to the width of the screen. We go narrow, it goes like this. You can always add, we can also center the website project if we wanted to. That's not a bad idea. There's other things we can do with it, but I just wanted to at least show you responsive. So how do we do responsive? One more time, a couple big changes I need to make sure you don't miss. And that is, we stuck our nav in the header so that we can put them side by side. And we did that using this. This is our responsive aspect, is an at media. Because it's mobile first, we start with all the mobile styles, and anything we change as we get wider, we stick inside of here. If we've already selected nav UL and we've given it properties, we don't have to reselect it. We only have to add what we're going to change about it. And in this case, it's just flex direction. And then font size for our hyperlink inside. And that makes our website a responsive and mobile first. That was a long tutorial. I apologize for the length of it. But in future tutorials, we're going to talk a little bit about layout. So we're going to move some of this header stuff to the layout, and we'll start looking at more HTML elements and designing this a little further while also maintaining this idea of a mobile first. And I think what I'm going to do is actually make use of the grid. We're going to try out the grid when we do our layout. So stay tuned for that.